Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are not new. If you are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Marina and today I'm going to be talking about a show, another show, a Nickelodeon show. There's a pattern here, I understand. When I do these, I'm not going to be talking about kids shows, I promise. This is just what I want to talk about today. I haven't filmed in like a week, which is so weird because last week I was putting out video after video and now I'm here. And yeah, that's crazy. Like I said, working on a schedule, but also like I don't have one. But it's gonna happen. My goal is to post at least once a week. But the past few days I have been working on this video. I have been watching this show, as you can tell by the title. We're going to be talking about Legends of Korra, the show I have been binging since it came out on Netflix on Friday, I think. And I officially finished it yesterday, and I'm going to be talking about it today. Fun times. If you watched my Every Which Way video, it's going to be exactly the same thing. I'm going to be talking about the characters from most to least important, the ones I think are most to least important. And then I'm going to be talking about relationships, the parent and children dynamics, things I like about the show, and things I want more of. I have notes over here, so if you see me looking at my notes, that is why. I'm looking over here. I'm also going to be talking really fast because last time the Every Which Way video was like 45 minutes and I'd rather not make this a long video. But if it is, then that's fine too. I just want to make this quick. So if you don't know what Legend of Korra is, it is basically I wouldn't say it's a spin-off, it's like a continuation of Avatar The Last Airbender. If you don't know what Avatar The Last Airbender is, I don't really know what to tell you about that. I'm not going to explain that show because I'm already gonna be explaining this one, but like it's basically where this show originated from. In a world of airbenders, waterbenders, earthbenders, firebenders, this is the show. But this time it's not centered around Aang, the avatar, it's centered around Korra, the avatar that came after Aang, and her, you know, trying to figure out how to be an avatar after Aang, because Aang had this whole legacy and is loved by everyone because of everything he did in Avatar The Last Airbender. Required reading. Check out that show if you haven't watched this one already. That's my opinion. You don't have to, but I feel like you should because it will make a lot more sense. I'm gonna start off with, of course, the lead, Korra. Korra, I love Korra so much. I feel like if you don't love Korra, then you're sexist. Because what's there not to love? I love her. This might sound bad, but I don't mean it in like a bad way. I love her because she's the opposite of Aang, if that makes sense. She's very confrontational and she's not afraid to go like toe to toe with things head on. Does that make sense? Like she knows what she wants and she goes out and get it. Whereas for Aang, he was like 12, he was a kid, so I don't blame him, but he didn't. They both don't know what they're doing as they discover being the avatar, but I feel like Aang handled it differently because he's a monk and he's all about peace and wanting people to like fix their problems peacefully, whereas Korra was just like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get it, and I loved that about her. She's a great character. Some stuff I didn't like that she did, there's only like a few that I can name, but it's all the way back in book 1, so season 1, where that whole love triangle between Bolin and Mako, I didn't like that. I didn't like that she was two-timing them at the same time, especially since Mako had a girlfriend and she only dated Bolin, Mako's brother, because Mako didn't want to date her at the time. That was very weird. Very weird. But as the show goes on, she grows as a character, so she's not as annoying. Because from book 1, she was pretty annoying, but like I still loved her. As the show progressed, you saw her change. She became what you would think an avatar is. So like a leader, someone to go to when like problems arise in the political world of the show and all this stuff. Yeah, that's Korra. Love her, great, amazing. I only hope the best for her. Next, we have Mako. Mako, another love of my life. I love Mako. It took some time to love Mako because like every other man, he is trash. However, he realized that he was trash and he worked his way up to not become trash, which I appreciated. He again with the love triangle in season 1, book 1, whatever, it was very unnecessary. Didn't know what he wanted. Didn't know if he wanted Sumi or Korra. I didn't like that, and he kept on switching back and forth as the seasons went on. Very strange. It wasn't until like I think book 3 he realized that what he was doing was stupid, but it took a long time and I had to deal with that, but I still loved him regardless, because like there was a heart there. There was a little heart there, and I liked him for that. He as well grew throughout the show, not even just like realizing like his love life is a mess, but also like as a character he grew and realized that he's not just some street rat, some homeless guy off the corner who's good for nothing. He like has a purpose. He worked in the police force. That was cool. He worked as the Earth Kingdom's king advisor for a while, which was strange, but for some reason it worked. I love Mako's character, and I love how he as well grew. All of the characters I'm about to name grew in some way, shape, or form throughout the show, which I like. It was very nice to see. Yeah, next we have Bolin. I love Bolin so much. You're gonna like hear me say I love all of these characters so much, but it's because I genuinely do. Bolin, Mako's little brother, yeah, his little brother, a sweetheart, heart of gold. Love him, like the comedic relief that the show needs. He's like, I strive to be Bolin. He always looks at the positive side of things. He's such a nice person. He's always wanting to help no matter what. I love this guy. I genuinely do. And I feel like he was needed throughout the show. He's kind of everyone's light in the darkness, if that makes sense. Like whenever there's trouble, like he's always there to give advice. Does that make sense? Or he's always there to make people feel better. And I really liked that. There's not much that he did that I didn't like. Everything he did I loved. He's just a great character overall, and I hope the best for him and Opal. They're a really cute couple. He was a ladies man. He got with at least 3 different girls throughout the show, but I was never really mad at him because he treated them with respect, except for that one time he kissed one of the girls that he was acting with in that like mover. They refer to movies as movers in the show. He kissed one of his actresses without her consent. That was a no-no, but he realized that later on and fixed his ways, and I liked that. But yeah, Bolin, great, phenomenal, love him. I genuinely, I have nothing bad to say about these characters, to be honest, and you're gonna realize that as I keep talking. Next we have Azumi, gorgeous. Woman crush Wednesday, every Wednesday. Perfection. When it comes to Azumi, I didn't really know how to think of her character back in book 1 because she kind of came out of nowhere. But then once I realized she was here to stay, I was like, okay, so I need to actually get to know and like her character. I didn't have any bad feelings about her character in the beginning. It was just very weird because it was that love triangle square mess with Korra, Bolin, Mako, and her, and I was just like, this is getting a little out of hand. How many people are they gonna add to this? But she's great. Like she's a perfect member for Team Avatar, I feel like, because although she's not a bender, like she can't earthbend, waterbend, or anything, but she still like can fight and defend herself, and she's very confident in her abilities, and she's really smart. Most of the plans in this show come from her, like that she's like kind of the brains of most of what's going on, and I really like that about her character. So she's not useless, like she has a purpose, and it's shown throughout the show, and her intelligence is really attractive. So yeah, I loved her relationship with her dad over the seasons, because we saw that her dad like 2-timed her and like was nearly about to kill her because she wasn't on his side, because he was like a villain, like a side villain, and she never forgave him until like book 4. And then we all know what happened in book 4 after they forgave each other and all that stuff. But yeah, her own little story was nice. Like I was always interested in her character throughout the whole entire show. She never bored me, which I appreciated. Next, Tenzin. Out of all of the kids, I feel like it makes sense that he's his son, because out of all of Aang's kids, we see him the most because like he's like Korra's trainer, slash father figure. I mean, her father is there in the show, but like this is her like second father figure, if that makes sense. He's always there for her, always wanting to teach her, help her, and along the way he learned that he can't like be forceful with his training. Like Korra learns in different ways, whether it's in battle or like she needs something to like teach her. Like you can't just like tell her to read from a book and learn. And I think that's where Korra helped him realize some stuff about himself. I loved, and I think it was in book 3, he faced his demons with his dad, because like throughout the show he always wanted to like, he felt like he needed to be like his dad, like he needed to fit that standard because he was a part of the last airbender. Like him and his family are like the last airbender, so he felt like all that weight was on his shoulders, that he needed to be his dad. And I liked that they confronted that in book 3. Was it book 3? Might have been book 2, either book 2 or 3. They confronted that and made him realize that he didn't have to be. And I liked that a lot, because I feel like until that moment we didn't really get much with Tenzin as a character, and that made me see a different side of him that I really liked. Next we have Jinora. I'm pretty sure she's the oldest out of Tenzin's kids. Yeah, she's the oldest. Okay. I like Jinora. She's the only kid I'm going to be talking about in this because I feel like she's the most like relevant. I love all of his kids, but out of all of them in the show, she's like the most important. I will explain later as to why, but yeah, she's the most important. I love her. Again, sweetheart, light of the show. I'm very confused though about her powers and like what she can do, because I know that she's an airbender and that she can like connect with the spirits really well. But if you watch the show and you know how book 2 ends, I think we're all kind of confused. But overall, I love Jinora. She also was there to help Tenzin realize that not everything is placed on him. Like not all of the weight of being the best airbender and having to like deal with that stress, not all of it is placed on him. It's placed on the whole family, and like how he should see her as also like not an equal, because they're like father and daughter, but like she taught him that he's not in it alone, basically. Like they all understand the struggle of what he's going with, and I thought that was great. Yeah, Jinora is great. Next we have Lin, Toph's daughter, one of Toph's daughters. Since day 1 she was always very rude to Korra, and I'm not really sure why. Like she kept Korra from getting a big head half the time, which was great, but like sometimes Korra didn't deserve it, and I'm just like, why are you being so mean to this girl? Because I'm pretty sure Korra is only like 16 or 17, so like you're being mean to this girl who's like so much younger than you, who just, she hasn't done any avatar duties yet for you to be like, you don't deserve anything you're getting, and blah blah blah. Like that was weird. But as the show went on, I had to realize that she's Toph's daughter. So of course she's gonna have some Toph tendencies in her as well, and I love Toph as a character, so I wasn't even mad about it. It's just like from the first episode she was really aggressive. I was like, wow, you're definitely Toph's daughter. But that made her more lovable in a sense, because I'm gonna talk about this later, but you get to see why she's like that, because of like the dynamics that she had with her sibling and Toph, her mom. So yeah, I like how she's all about tough love though. I admire that about her, and I feel like it makes sense that she's like the chief officer or whatever, because she's in the story but not like she's always there to help, kind of like Bolin. Like she's always there with her army and military ready to square up. And also throughout the show you also get to see a human side of her. I feel like the older generation with their kids, so like Tenzin being Aang and Katara's son, Toph being, I mean not Toph, Lin being Toph's kid, you get to see how their upbringing and how they were raised made them become who they were. So I'm not even really mad about Lin, because that's just who she is. But it took a few seasons for me to warm up to her. After a while, I did enjoy her character a lot. Last character I'm going to be talking about is Varrick. Varrick's hilarious. I love this guy. He's great. He's kind of like the little finger of the show. If you guys watch Game of Thrones, you would know he's definitely the little finger of the show. He's really intelligent, kind of the comedic relief as well, always saying something weird and having nothing to do with the problem at hand, but he's always there for a good laugh. You never know what side he's on ever, but I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it a lot. He added something to the show. I don't know what it was, but his character, he wasn't only amusing, but he left me wondering like more. Like, I wanted to know more about Varric. I know that he's rich and he owns a lot of businesses and that he's in love with his assistant, but other than that, we didn't get to know much about him. But then he's a side character, so like I understand, but I wish we could have, because he's interesting. I really wanted to know more about Varric, but I guess we never will. Next, I'm going to be talking about the relationships in the show, because they didn't play that big of a part in the show, but I feel like they also did. And some of these I feel like need to be talked about because I was very confused. First, we're going to start off with Korra and Mako. I thought they were cute. Did I think they were necessary? No, but very cute overall as a couple. I didn't think they were gonna last though. Usually like relationships like theirs never really last. I can understand why they broke up. Korra's duties as the avatar getting in the way of Mako's duties as like a police officer. Like obviously they're not gonna align well, and it just caused them to break up. So I understand. They both love each other though, which I liked. Like throughout the show they make it a reminder that they will always love each other. They're just not meant for each other, and I thought that was cute. I know that a lot of people didn't like this show for multiple reasons. One of the main reasons being the relationships, because in Avatar: The Last Airbender there were no real relationships. But you have to understand, this is like the characters in the show are a little bit older than the characters in Avatar, so of course they're gonna like develop feelings and date because they are older teenagers, literally adults by the end of the show. So I feel like it makes sense that they would date each other. Was it necessary? No, but it makes sense. Like like people were really complaining about that from what I saw on Twitter, and I was just like, that's kind of stupid. Korra and Mako, they're a fine couple. I just when they were together it was cute, but when they were over I didn't like feel any attachment to it. Like I wasn't sad when they broke up. It was kind of like Okay, so next we have Asumi and Mako, another relationship where I'm just like, not necessary but cute. They lasted in book 1, I think. Yeah, it was only in book 1. Then they had their little thing after Korra and him broke up in book 2, but then that was stupid. They were not gonna last because Mako had feelings for Korra while he was dating Asumi, so it was definitely not gonna last, and it was not healthy in any regard. But the scenes that they showed together, I feel like they would have lasted long if he just knew what he wanted, but he didn't at the time, so oh well. Next we have Bolin and Eska. I think. Isn't Eska like one of the, I don't know if it could be Eska or Desma, correct me if I'm wrong, the twins from the Southern Water Tribe, like, you know, or the Northern Water Tribe. I think Eska's the girl and Desma's the boy, but really correct me if I'm wrong because I could never remember which one was which. But Bolin dated one of the twins, the girl from the Water Tribe, the princess or whatever. Toxic, very unhealthy relationship. She bossed him around a lot, and is it bad that I liked it? Like she gave off really like bad bitch energy, and I loved it. However, the way that she treated Bolin was not okay. And Bolin, he's so sweet and he's kind of a pushover. So yeah, but like by the end of book 2 you saw that he like did have feelings for her, and she did really have feelings for him, but they just like respond to each other's feelings differently. So I knew that wasn't gonna last either. But I feel like they were really cute together too. I liked them together even though she treated him terribly. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but I liked them together. They were cute for what they were. I had no problem with it. I understand if people do though, because it's really not a healthy relationship to be in. Next we have Bolin and Opal. Bolin and Opal. Cute, so cute. OTP, my favorite couple in this show, I think. Maybe. I feel like they progressed the most, like in the healthiest way, even though we barely got to see them. because their relationship got started in book 3, but then they flash forward to the future 3 years later in book 4, and they're like separated. But you could tell that Bolan's feelings are genuine when it comes to Opal, whereas his feelings for Eska, when he was dating Eska, he wasn't really sure what his feelings were until like the very end. But throughout his time of dating Opal, he was sure of his feelings. He knew that he loved her, and she treated him great. Like Opal kind of reminds me of Suki. If you guys watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, she kind of reminds me of Suki, like to a certain extent, like the way she carries herself and is really confident in herself and demands respect. Like I like that about her. I feel like that she was definitely the right person for Bolan in terms of like dating and girlfriend, like being a girlfriend. She was great for him. Next, we have Jinora and Kai. I don't think I talked about Kai and the characters because he's not that important, honestly, but I love Kai. I like how he's basically like, he goes from being a street rat and a thief to like one of the best airbenders at the temple. Like I loved his character growth. I'm going to talk about that later, but yeah, I feel like he was good for Jinora too, because Jinora, she's kind of like a goody two shoes because her dad is Tenzin, one of the last airbenders, so of course she's gonna be like all about rules, and Kai's kind of like the rebel and the bad boy, but he's such a sweetheart. I love Kai. But yeah, I feel like they worked really well together, Jinora and Kai. I liked them in season 3, book 3. I thought they were really cute together, although we didn't really get that many moments with them, which was kind of sad, but cute couple. Last couple I'm going to talk about is the one that I think we all know of, that is Korra and Asumi. Now, I know that book 4, I heard that book 4 wasn't aired on Nickelodeon. It had to be aired on the website because it was inappropriate, and I was confused because as I was watching, because I heard about this beforehand when I watched the show, and I also heard that Korra was bi before watching the show, so I was just like, there's no way they wouldn't air it because she's bi. But then as I go through book 4 and I see that there's nothing really inappropriate here until the very end when Asumi and Korra go off into the spirit world together, that I realized, oh wait, Nickelodeon didn't air this because Korra and Asumi ended up together in the end, and that's kind of homophobic. But regardless of that, I think they're a cute couple. I wish that the moments that they had leading up to them being a couple could have been a lot more it could have been a little less subtle. Like I couldn't tell that they liked each other until like maybe the end, like literally the end of the show, the last episode. I mean, there were moments where in book 4, Asumi complimented Korra, and then Korra blushed a few times, but then I was just like, Korra kind of blushes at everything, so I like these characters are all blushing all the time, so I didn't really take much of it. As a couple though, I could see them being cute. I just wish that they were developed a little bit earlier into season 4, book 4. I know a lot of people are mad about that too, the way that it ended with them going off into the spirit world together. It seemed like a rush ending for the couple, but not for the show in general. I thought that was an okay way to end the show. When it comes to Asumi and Korra's relationship, all I wish is that it was developed more throughout the show. If not throughout the show, then at least through book 4, because they didn't really, I mean, they gave some signs, because Korra only wrote to Asumi after she ran away, so I guess that was a sign. But then even like I'm trying to understand, like when they got together I was happy, but I thought they were like friends, so maybe that's just me, I don't know. Now we get on to the parent and children dynamics. Yay! I'm gonna be talking about the older generation and their kids. So Aang and Katara's kids and like their relationship, and then Toph's kids. So it was said in, I think, book 2, when Kaya and Bumi were introduced, that out of all of Aang's kids, Tenzin was favorited by Aang because he was an airbender and Kaya and Bumi were not. Now, the only thing I wish that came out of this was like flashback moments to their childhood, because they did that with Toph. They gave a little flashback to Toph when she was chief of police and how she treated Sue and Lin differently and unfairly. Like, they gave flashbacks to their childhood, whereas with Aang and Katara and like all of, like, they didn't give flashbacks to Tenzin and Kai and Bumi's childhood. And I wish they did that more so I could get a little bit more context, because that was like a big plot kind of in book 2, because like that was the time where we saw all of his kids together, and like there was all of this like passive aggressiveness going on, a lot of tension, and they spoke about it, but like they never really said exactly what Aang did, or like they never really showed and gave examples. They just said, well, no, they did. They said that Aang took Tenzin to all these places that he used to visit like when he was a kid, and he didn't take Bumi and Kaya and all this stuff. Like, I get it, but I wish we would have gotten more flashbacks. I don't think we got any flashbacks to Aang and Katara raising their kids, and I wish we did. That's all. But yeah, I'm glad that they fixed their relationship with, like, the siblings fixed their relationship. They never really went to Katara, because Katara is alive in this show. I don't know if I mentioned that, but Katara is alive. They never went to Katara with their problems like Sue and Lin did with Toph. But I'm glad that they worked everything out. I just wish that we got a little bit more context. I would have loved to see them raising their kids. That would have been nice. Because in the flashbacks we did get of Aang, Sokka, Katara, and all of them, they were never with their kids, and I just wish that was not the case, and that we got some Aang being a dad and parenting his kids dynamic, you know? Like, we didn't get to see those moments at all. On to Toph. Okay, so Toph has 2 kids, Sue and Lin, different dads. She never really she said that Lin's dad is a guy named Kantu or Cantu. I might be pronouncing that wrong. She never really explained who Sue's dad was. I don't know who Kantu is though, so that really didn't mean anything to me. He might have been in Avatar, but I don't remember his character, so please don't hate me. But yeah, we got flashbacks with Toph raising Sue and Lin. There was the flashback of Sue being like the rebel child, and Lin basically following in her mom's footsteps of becoming chief of police. And we got to see how Toph raised them differently and not favored, but you could tell that like she treated Sue differently and let her get away with more stuff, whereas Toph was really all about the rules and, like, you know, sticking to becoming chief of police and all that stuff. I thought that was interesting. It's interesting to see how the older generation of airbenders raise their kids, because obviously as you watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, you don't think, I wonder how how they're gonna be as parents. Like, I never thought that when I watched Avatar. I was because even when I did think about it, I never thought that they'd be bad parents. It turns out like almost all of them were bad parents. So that was interesting. I like that the show did that for all of them. I'm glad that Lin, Sue, and Toph worked out their differences. I like that Toph and Lin had to like sit down and yell at each other and talk and fight it out until Toph was like, I'm not asking for much except like for you to not hate me. As long as you don't hate me, I'll be okay. That made my heart like, it made me so sad, but also like Lin said that she doesn't hate her, so it made me kind of happy. But also I want to know, I need more flashbacks. I want to know how they parented and why the kids feel the way they feel more. Like, I feel like we got context, but I want more. I don't know why. I just really want to see. I also like how Lin and Sue did not like each other because of the way that they were raised. It's obvious that there was tension between them because one was treated unfairly. They like, obviously. So when Sue and Toph saw each other, they had to literally fight, like earth bend, metal bend, and fight each other to like work out their differences. I thought that was cool. I like seeing how the different generations have like come together, you know? I thought that was interesting. I like seeing that. I like seeing how their kids are not perfect and how they have to work out their differences because of how they were raised. that was really cool to me. I enjoyed that a lot. Also, side note, I didn't put this in relationships, but Tenzin and Lin dating when they were younger, that's interesting. I would have loved to see a flashback of that also, because I can't imagine it. It was brought up a few times in the show, like Toph's daughter and Aang's son dating. That's so weird to me. And whenever it was brought up, I thought we were gonna get a flashback, but we never got a flashback. I was so upset. I wanted, because obviously Tenzin doesn't end up with Lin because Tenzin has his own kids with his own wife, but like I want to know. I really want to know. I'm getting stressed, but yeah, that's basically the parent and children dynamics. The other generations had kids, I think, but they're barely brought up in the show, so not much I can really say there. Now I'm gonna get into things I like about the show. I'm gonna get things I like and things I want more of / need, which I'm gonna try to get through this as quickly as I can. Okay, so the Kai character development. I already said I love Kai as a character. I love the way he was introduced. I like the fact that he wasn't perfect. Like, he kind of reminds me of Aang a little bit, which I like. Like, you know how Aang started off as like a kid and not knowing how to like harness in like the elements that like all of his power in him, and how he had to learn how to like not only grow up really fast, but like be more, not independent, but he had to learn how to not only focus on his own needs and like just try to understand what he's more capable of. And I feel like Kai had the same lessons going on, and I thought it was cool how he was being taught by Aang's son. That was really, I like that. I love Kai as a character and his character development. I love Bolin being a lava bender, because in book 3 we were all expecting him to be a metal bender, because it was like he kept on bringing it up and everyone was just like, all you have to do is focus on it, and he could never get it. But turns out he was a lava bender, so not only can he earth bend, he can lava bend, which apparently is a very unique skill to have. I know that Mako and Bolin's parents are firebenders, and his dad is it their dad is an earthbender, their mom is a firebender, so it makes sense that Bolin can not only earthbend but also lava bend. I thought that was really cool because it was very unexpected. I thought he was going to be able to metal bend by the end of the show, but nope, they got us. They got me. I did not expect him to lava bend. That was crazy. I also liked that the older generation were not perfect parents. Throughout the Avatar The Last Airbender, you get to see how they're not perfect in different ways, like with each character. But like after the show, I never thought that they would be bad parents. Like I brought this up, I never thought that they would struggle with being parents and raising their kids, and their kids not seeing them as, you know, great parents. That was very interesting. Like I loved seeing that. I'm gonna get so sad. Okay, bringing Iroh back to help guide the characters in the spirit world, that made me so happy because everyone loves Iroh. If you don't love Iroh, then you're evil. So when I saw Iroh, my heart gave in. I was so happy. I'm still happy. I love Iroh. He came back multiple times. I thought he was only going to come back the one time to help Korra, but no, he came back multiple times to help Tenzin. He came back to help Korra again in, I think, book 3 or 4. He came back multiple times, and I love it. However, I do have a question. Wouldn't it make more sense for Iroh to want to be with his son? Because he chose to be in the spirit world, like to like be in peace or whatever, but like wouldn't it make more sense for him to want to be with his son rather than like live in the spirit world? I noticed that in the show, and I was just like, okay, interesting. But like, because he was all about like his son and like his son's death and how it affected him in Avatar, but they never really brought up his son in this. I'm not mad at it. I'm just kind of like, I wonder what the writers were thinking putting that in. But also, if they didn't put him in the spirit world, then I wouldn't get my Iroh moment. So I'm not mad. I just, something I wanted to question. Mako and Bolin meeting their family in the Earth Kingdom. It was a great, wholesome, sweet moment, because I don't think Bolin and Mako, they never really got much of a story that didn't bounce off of Korra and what she's going through. So I liked seeing how they found their long lost family, because I don't know if I explained this, Mako and Bolin are off the streets, like they're homeless, they're orphans, they never really met their family because their parents died when they were little. So I liked how when they went to Ba Sing Se and like the Earth Kingdom, they got to meet their long lost family. I thought that was really nice, that they found out that it wasn't just them two. Like they had other people that have always wanted to meet them, that they've always wanted to meet, that are related to them and that they can connect with. I liked that a lot. Oh, also what was really, I loved seeing how the first avatar was created. I loved seeing Korra being able to like go back, and I think his name is Juan, the first avatar, seeing how the first avatar became the first avatar. That was wild. That came out of nowhere. When they put that in the show, I was like, what? That was so cool. That could have easily been a show on its own. I would love to see that as a show on its own, but I know it won't be, because then that defeats the purpose of that whole episode. But yeah, that was cool. I liked that a lot. I liked that they did that. I thought that they were going to do that in Avatar The Last Airbender, but they didn't. But I'm glad that they did it in this show, because I've always been curious as to how the Avatar became the Avatar. Like, how did this whole cycle of Avatar start? I've always wondered that, and I got my answer. I like how the villains were not just villains. Like they had their own, they had character behind them, not just a villain doing bad things. Like their reasoning for doing things weren't really like bad. Like they wanted equality, they wanted peace in the world, they wanted structure, but the way that they went about it was wrong. Like even in the last season, when Korra went to go visit Zamir to help her get in the spiritual world, you could tell that all he wanted was like world peace. Like when he helped her, even though he tried to kill her in book 3, he helped her in book 4 because she needed someone to help her defeat Corvina, who wanted to be a leader and destroy the Earth King, not destroy, but like have power over the Earth Kingdom, which is what Zamir wasn't about. Like he didn't want like leaders in power. Like he wanted everyone to be equal and on the same playing field. So the villains had character behind them, and they had really good reasons for wanting to do what they did. They just went about it in a terrible way. But I like how the villains weren't actually villains. Now, things I want more of and need. Kai and Jinora. I would like more Kai and Jinora moments. We got a few in book 3, but it was said in book 4 that Kai and Jinora are together. They just, for some reason, they just never were on screen together. I wanted more Kai and Jinora moments. Maybe that's just me, I don't know, but I love them as a couple, and I thought they were so cute, especially since book 4 is like 3 years into the future. Like they're like teenagers now. I want to see how like they actually like interact. Like we didn't even get to see that, but Kai said that like him and Jinora are like in a good relationship compared to Bolin and Opal. So I thought we would be able to see that, but we never got to see that. Like I said, I want more flashbacks of Aang and Katara's kids, with them like raising their kids. Since Katara is one of the last characters like from the older generations in this show, I thought we were gonna get more moments of her interacting with her kids, but we only got like maybe 2 or 3, which isn't bad, because of course although it's like this is a continuation of the show, you don't want it to be like based off, I mean it's already based off of the nostalgia, but you don't want it to continue based off of nostalgia. You want the characters that you make in the show to have their own story and not rely on the nostalgia of the older characters. So I understand why they didn't do that, but I still wanted flashbacks. I wanted like at least one flashback with Aang and Katara raising their kids, and I got none. I was paid dust. Next we have Korra metal bending, or not metal bending, during her fight with Corvina. I think that's her name, Corvina or something. Like the villain in book 4, the girl who wanted to take over the Earth Kingdom and rule it on her own. Yeah, her. When Korra was fighting her the first time they fought, why didn't she metal bend? That was frustrating. Why didn't she metal bend? Because her whole suit, Corvina's whole suit is made of metal. I don't know why because Corvina was kicking Korra's ass. I know that Korra was gone for a while from being the Avatar. I know that she was struggling, but she could have at least tried to metal bend the suit. I was so confused. I was like, you were getting your ass handed to you. Why aren't you at least trying to metal? You could try. Like, it made me so frustrated. Like, she kept on being thrown around, tossed back and forth. I was like, you're making me mad. Because if you could just squish, like, crush her in her own suit because it's made of metal, then you would have won the fight easily. But she didn't even try. I was like, this is kind of embarrassing. This is making me pity you. Get up off the floor. Again, I would like more Asumi and Korra moments. We did not get enough in book 4, and the ending is not enough. I would like more. I would even like it if they had their own show. I'm gonna go that far. I said it. I would love it if they got their own show, because book 4 did not do enough for me in terms of their relationship and the way that they progressed. I'm gonna get heated. I feel like they would obviously make a cute couple, but it just came out of nowhere for me, and I would like to see more of their like relationship dynamic. Next, discovering more of Janora's powers. Okay, so I know that book 2 was the creators of the show thought that book 2 was going to be their last season, because Nickelodeon, being them, didn't tell them that the show was being continued until after book 2 ended, so they thought that they needed to rush and have like a proper ending to it, so they didn't know what to really, they kind of just rushed Janora's plot in there. But I still don't understand what she did at the end of book 2, so if someone could explain that to me. I thought she was turning into Rava, you know, the light inside of Korra. I thought she was going to sacrifice herself and become the light inside of Korra, but then I realized this is a kid's show and they can't sacrifice children. So then I was just like, but then she came out of nowhere in the ball of light, and I was very confused. I didn't know what was going on. I still very confused about that. If someone can explain. I don't really know Janora's powers like that. I don't think anyone really does. I know that she's tapped with the spiritual world. Like she can go in and out. She's one of the few airbenders who are really like in control of like when they can and can't come into the spiritual world, and like when they can see spirits and all that stuff. But I still don't understand what she did in book 2 and how she did it, and the extent and strength of her powers. I would like to know more of that. Next, Sokka. Where is he? I know that he's dead, okay? It's vaguely mentioned throughout the show. However, we only got one flashback with Sokka, and it was of him being a councilman, like a judge in court or something like that. That's fine. I'm guessing he didn't have any kids. I'm guessing him and Suki didn't have any kids. I'm guessing him and Suki weren't together. Because in the one flashback we got of him in court being a judge, Suki was nowhere to be found, but again, the trial didn't have anything to do with her. Justice for Sokka. I want more Sokka. Because just like Sokka, Aang and Katara barely had any flashbacks of them together, so I guess it makes sense Sokka didn't get any flashbacks, but also it's kind of like, I feel like that one flashback of Sokka was just fan service. Like they just did that because they knew that we weren't gonna rest until we got some Sokka. But even that wasn't enough. Did they have kids? Did they stay together? I just want answers. I'm glad he became a council member. I know that he has like a statue of him holding his boomerang in front of like the whole Water Tribe Council building area before it got destroyed, of course. That's cool. More Sokka, please. Same with Zuko. They kind of rushed Zuko in at the end of book 3. I think it was either book 3 or book 4. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was book 3 because it was when Zamir and his whole gang of not avatars, but like really good benders came together and were the villains for book 3. That's when Zuko came in. He didn't get any moments either, but I feel like he got enough. With Sokka, it was kind of just like, where is he? He's dead, but like, where is he? We're not gonna get at least one more flashback. I was hurt. I was kind of hurt. I was like, my man Sokka, the disrespect is very real. Also with Zuko, I'm glad he got a dragon. When the dragon came out, I was proud. I was so proud. Love that for him. I love that he got his dragon. Also, I love the moment, I think it was the second time Iroh interacted with Korra. Korra asked Iroh for advice in the spiritual world, and then Iroh said to ask Zuko, because Zuko gave Aang advice when Aang was alive. That was cute. And then when Korra brought up the fact that her uncle was right about giving her asking him for advice, he was like, you talked to my uncle? That made my heart stop as well. I caved in on myself. I almost busted into tears. I was like, this is getting me very emotional. For some reason, it's getting me really emotional, because I knew that Zuko and Iroh can't really interact, but I like that they kind of interacted through Korra. I thought that was great. I thought that was nice. That made me happy. But yeah, overall, the show overall, I'm gonna say it, and I know it's gonna make a lot of y'all angry, but it's a lot better than Avatar: The Last Airbender. Listen, okay, I understand that many people, it's either love or hate with this show, okay? A lot of OG fans of Avatar either loved or hated, and I'm gonna be honest. I did watch Avatar when I was younger. However, I wasn't one of those fans that were hooked on it. Like, I watched it if it was on TV, but I wasn't like, you know, tune in every week to see the next episode until the finale. I wasn't that kind of fan. Of course I watched it and I liked it, but I wasn't like committed, if that makes sense. So I didn't really sit down and watch every single episode of it until it came on Netflix last month. And I really enjoyed the show. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. However, this show, yeah, I don't understand the hate for the show. It's a lot better in my opinion. It's a lot better. I feel like the character development was a lot better. The stories were a lot better, because I know that Avatar: The Last Airbender takes place throughout a year of Aang having to learn how to defeat the Fire Lord. I get it. Like, it's a very like slow-paced show, if that makes sense, and I like my shows kind of fast-paced. It doesn't mean that I enjoyed it any less. It's just my preference. With Legend of Korra, you have like a different villain every season, her taking down someone new, and her also learning how to become the Avatar and harnessing her powers to destroy each villain. Like, she learned something about herself every season, and I liked that. Also, I like how the characters are older in this show. Like most of the relationships in this show, some were forced, but I feel like they had to get out of the way in book 1 and 2 so people could shut up. So yeah, I kind of like this better. The storytelling I liked a lot more. The characters I kind of liked a lot more. Yeah, my opinion, please don't attack me. My favorite book, I know everyone's favorite book is book 3, and I enjoy book 3 because Zamir and his whole like villain gang, quadruple people, like the four people, like those 4 villains, they're really good, like kind of intimidating. I was scared of the water arm lady. I think her name is Minghua. Very scary, in my nightmares for the past few days. Great villains. However, I enjoyed book 2 the most. It might have not got the best ending, however I like it the most because it wasn't as simple as like Korra's uncle being the villain just because he wanted to take over. It had more of like an underlying like tone to it. But book 2 isn't just like surface level. Like, there's a lot more underneath that, and I liked that. I liked finding out more about why book 2 happened as the show went on, because book 2 was never just book 2. It kind of, what happened in book 2 helped the rest of the show, and I enjoyed that. Book 2 is personally my favorite, but I understand why book 3 is everyone's favorite as well. But yeah, that's just my personal fave. That's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's long. I'm like 50 minutes in. I tried to make this shorter than Every Which Way, but also this is more complex and a lot more stuff to get into than Every Which Way. So like, but I think I did pretty well. Like, I'm only like 50 minutes in. That's crazy. If you enjoyed this video, thanks. I promise I'm gonna work on a schedule. I'm gonna work on not making these videos too long. I just felt the need to talk about it. And if you have watched the show, please let's discuss on Twitter. Oh, I forgot to put my social media here. I interact with people most on Twitter. If you want to talk about it, here you go. I need people to talk to about this show because it's been on my head. I just finished it yesterday and it's been in my head for 24 hours. I need to talk about it. So if you have watched it, interact with me in the comments or on Twitter, and I just need to discuss. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.